I think we can all agree that the last couple Call of Duty games have definitely sucked. Stuff like Cold War and Vanguard were games that had very crappy stories, bad weapon balancing, and even when it came to the best multiplayer matches, it definitely felt like a step down for Call of Duty, which is, crazy enough, still the most popular franchise on the planet. But that's kind of why I've been increasingly curious about Modern Warfare 2, the 2022 new game we're getting. And mostly because I did want to see, can COD bounce back? Can this game be as decent as some of the classics were? Well, I just finished playing the 6-hour campaign. It's 17 missions. It's got you roaming across the globe, blasting people, doing some pretty insane stuff like blowing up oil rigs and jumping out of trucks that are driving down the highway and dodging landmines. I mean, the game is pure intensity, but more than that, I'm really kind of shocked to say this. There is a decent story at the center of Modern Warfare 2, with good acting, good writing, and a lot of very good times to just nuke stuff with your particular flavor of chaotic guns. Now let's talk about the goods, the bads, and the uglies. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. So please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's start things off with a topic I feel like is being discussed a lot on social media, which is these rather bonkers photorealistic graphics. There are so many set pieces inside of this campaign that look like an interactive movie where you're walking through the crowded streets of Europe and there's just super glistening, beautiful rain, fresh water on the pavement that realistically reflects every little teeny tiny shimmer, or just hearing voices that are realistically echoing off of surfaces. It feels like this should be obvious because Activision is one of the biggest companies on the planet. They have pretty much infinite budget. That's why they're being bought for $70 billion by Microsoft, is because they are able to fund incredible projects like whatever engine manages to make this possible. But honestly, a good set of graphics doesn't matter if the world is boring or if the guns don't really feel great to pull the trigger on. Let's talk a bit about the gameplay of it. The different missions of this have you doing things that you're probably not going to be doing very much in the multiplayer, like flying around in a helicopter and shooting targets with a turret with thermal vision on, and completely destroying property and chasing down people. I kind of like this story of this game because you're going all over the planet, doing some crazy defensive and offensive operations, sneak around in a ghillie suit and trying to take down targets. So much of the gunplay in this feels so good. Every gun, every bit of impact. I played through this game on normal difficulty, but I do kind of want to run through it again, at least particular missions that were combat heavy on the highest difficulty, just to see if I can still survive, because some of these firefights are definitely stacked against you. There's such a crazy variety of weaponry throughout the course of this campaign as you're skulking through cartel tunnels underneath the floors of Mexico, or just scooping up an AK-47 off the ground while invading a different base that's about to be nuked in a matter of minutes. I love the chaotic energy of Call of Duty games that are actually good, because let's face it, there are some that are incredibly bland. This definitely feels like they realized, okay, we can make a 6-hour story that has good acting, a crazy plot twist, and most importantly, Valeria. This lady... Everybody I've seen online, all the Call of Duty fans are simping for this lady so hard. She is a great antagonist. I don't want to fully explain her role in case you do actually care about a Call of Duty storyline. This woman is sassy and smooth as hell. And I like the fact that there's a character in Call of Duty that's good enough that you can remember their name beyond just Ghost. I'm shocked to say that the facial animations, the voice acting to this, when these people are debating or torturing or even just trying to have that, insane murderous gleam in their eyes before they do something terrible, the animations and the graphics of these faces is truly surreal. The amount of detail to this is great. But I want to just say something that I find a bit negative about this campaign, which is that for the most part, everything is very breakneck pace. A lot of this is just action, just immediately transporting you to the next character, to the next mission, to the next crazy operation that only you can survive. but it does sometimes just completely kill the pace with these weird multiple choice options. This really only happens like 4 or 5 times during the course of the game, but all of them just feel so poorly implemented. It'll be times where like you're tied to a chair and someone's trying to question you, or you're defusing a bomb and you have to try and read information off. But, it's always the same thing. We're asking you a question, press a button to make the cutscene continue. This doesn't make me feel more engaged or more interested in the fate of these characters. Instead, it just made me aggravated when I accidentally pressed the wrong button and had to rewatch an entire cutscene. This also brings me to, there are a couple times where you're doing an action scene that also wants you to only do a particular thing. The early missions especially are very on rails. They want you to run to a particular target or try and blow up a particular bridge, and sometimes if you literally even walk 10 feet off to the side, it just auto kills you and gives you a game over. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. Once you get past like mission 6, suddenly it does open up and give you a lot more creative freedom to play the game and pick up tons and tons of guns off the ground and test them out. I don't know why they decided, like, is it just distrusting the Call of Duty fan base? I mean, straight up, I hated the first like hour of this game until it starts to really engage you. There is one other weird mission. I live in Texas. I'm a big fan of Texas. I'm one of those stereotypical Texans that's like, hell yeah, brother, Lone Star State. So it feels weird that there is a mission in Texas where you break into some houses and kill some people. It feels a little bit weird to see what really is like photorealistic Texas houses, our tiny chain link fences, and you are breaking into somebody's house and killing them. And it's just perceived as like a totally okay thing. I mean, I know some people get weird of like, oh, you can't, get mad about war crimes in a video game. Okay, but these are war crimes, and it does kind of, as a Texan, feel like I'm killing my neighbor. Now, I know that most people are not going to be affected by this. I know that I'm the extreme minority in this case. I'm just saying that, to me, as a fan of good, accurate graphics and crazy gameplay and a fan of Texas, some of this stuff felt a little bit weird to just be, blasting people trying to defend their homes. But, what are you going to do? Overall, I did actually enjoy this game a lot. I do think it's cool to be sniping. It's cool to be adjusting and trying to hit a target and flank people and digitally calling out targets to people, swimming underwater and doing the stealth missions. Sometimes sneaking stuff can be very annoying in certain games. I feel like as soon as you start trying to make it where, you got to remain undetected, it can become very frustrating. Even the stealth missions in this game completely accomplish their objective, because a lot of times once you get spotted, you can still go in guns blazing. Most of the stealth missions are still pretty optional, where it's easier, in fact it's like 80 times easier to beat it if you stay undetected, but if you screw up, you can just go time for justice. I'm impressed with the fact that this game is so decent, that it's so fun, that the story is so competent, that this world looks so good. Call of Duty has really engaged me again. Now, we'll see if the multiplayer can match it. I'm recording this right now on the 23rd, and so that means the multiplayer here is coming out in just a couple days. I'll be making a separate video talking about that. But as it stands, I am very cautiously but enthusiastically optimistic that if the multiplayer is well balanced and as fun as this is, it might be legendary. But we'll find out. You guys rock. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.